To continue with transformer null handling functions, this is a transformer job, and the previous session we have created this job and total income we have seen. And when we do sal plus commission, and in commission we have null values to some of the records. Only 4 records are having the commission values, but rest of the employees, 10 employees, are having commission as null. So when you add with any value with null, the result will be null. But that which is wrong, because the total income would be, if she is not getting commission, at least the salary also, at least salary should be the income. But here the output is coming in a wrong because of not performing null handling. So in transformer, in such cases, how we are going to perform null handling, we will see. So this session will completely be discussed with null handling functions. Okay. So to that, what I'll do, I'll just add null handling functions. So I can append a new column, and in the functions window, you can go for null handling functions. So is not null, is not null. So which is or else I'll take a new output. I'll take a new output and I'll discuss with that output with null handling functions, and later I'll remove that output. That would be fine. That should be okay without any confusions. Okay. So in the DSLink 19 output, I'll just drag one column and I'll append new column, and I'm going to derivate, means I'm going to call the derivation function, and for in the derivation window we are going to call the function. So is not null. Okay. So is not null, is null. We have multiple functions. I'll just first call the functions. Next we will see what tells the function functionality is, how it will work. We will see that. So is null. So we'll have small confusion kind of thing in defining is null, is not null, such all information. So call the functions first, null to empty. Okay. I'm going to append another new column, null to empty, and next null to value. Null to value. And next we are going to see null to 0. And I'm going to handle to continue with set null. Set null is also one of the null handling function. Okay. So total how many functions we have related to null handling functions? Null handling functions 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see 6 here, and one is employee number. When you see 7 columns, 7 rows regarding the columns that we created newly, one employee number which is from the source. Okay. Is not null, is null, null to empty, null to value, null to 0. On which column you need to perform? Okay, on which column you need to perform? So null to empty. Okay, what I'll do, I'll drag the commission column to the target. It will help us to understand. Okay. So here I'm going to provide commission. Almost all we are going to call the commission value only because it is only having null to value. So here you need to provide one thing. You need to provide the input column as well the value also, because it is asking to give a value within the user, like on your own. So what I'll do, I'll just make it as 0 and null to 0. I'm not defining any value. By default, it is taking null to 0. So what is not null? When you give a column or a value, it will tell you whether it is having null or not. How? By giving 1 and 0. 1 means it is null and 0 means not null. Is null means opposite way, the vice versa. So is null means it will give, if it is null 1 and if it is not null 0. Is not null, if it is not null it will give 1. If I given in opposite way, I'm sorry. The actual thing is not null means it is not going to say that it is not null. Then if it is null, if it is not null, then you will get 1 and 0 if you see that is a null. That is not null. Is null means it will find null as 1 and value means as 0. Null to empty, empty is a space or something which we cannot define, but still it is an empty. We can say it is a value, one value, empty value. And null to value, null is one which you cannot define, and null to value means it's like you are converting the null into a value which is not having any, again, a value, that is 0. And null to 0, see, null to value means apart from 0 you can define on your own any value, that is null to value. But null to 0 is like which is predefined by the transformer itself, saying that in the null spaces I'll put zeros. Either null to value you can give and put a 0, but if you don't want to do that, just give null to 0, that will also help. Set null, it will not take any value, it will just simply set the null value. So these are the null value functions that we have in the transformer, and we'll see the output how it goes. Transform null.ds. So what it is throwing? It is throwing somewhere error. We'll see. Okay, I got the error. What it is going to do? Or why it got put wrong? See, I have specified a column with set null, and unfortunately the set null is nullability. So it makes a issue. So this should not happen. This should not be happen because nullable should be true, right? Because of that column is already it is setting as a null. So now you should not get any compile time error. Now you get at a runtime. So I'm running on single line, single node. We'll see the output. See, is not null. Is not null will have 4 ones. Means which are not null it will give the value, which are null it will give 0. Is null will give for nulls zeros and is not null as 1. These are both vice versa. They will work in vice versa. This is null to empty. If you have a null, it is making it into empty. So this is not a null value. This is empty value. Null to value which I made it into 0. Null to 0 which is predefined into a 0. Set null. It will not check whether you have a value or not. Simply it puts all the records with null. It will set null simply. Some cases you need to specify. If you are not getting the expected value from the source, then you have to set null for that record. In such cases, you need to put set null by default. So that is one case. And commission is the direct column, and department number is the another department, and employee number. Three are direct columns from the source. To make you to understand about these null handling functions, we have used it. Okay. Now I will go to this previous output, and now I want to confirm here what kind of function null to value. So here you can take the function and null handling. So in null handling, make it as null to 0, and in that value just specify this column condition. So null to 0, the commission, wherever it found a null, it will place 0, and now we will see the output will be properly populating or not. This is before run. The view which I am showing you now is before run, and after running again we will see the output, and the problem got resolved or not, we will see. So this is before run to this condition what we have done. We did not run now. Now we are going to run after adding this condition. Okay. First you need to compile. If you don't compile, of course, if you do changes, it will not allow you to run until you compile the code. So compilation is very important in DataStage. Not only in DataStage, in almost all software, any product you need to do compilation. Now we'll go and see whether total income is populating properly or not, or still we are facing the issue. Now see, yeah. So now null to 0 is working. So 13 plus 0, 1300. 1300 plus 0, 1300. 5000 plus 0, 5000. So here only the value 1600 plus 300, 1900. So it is working exactly. Now the total income is working properly. Before we have an issue. Now it is working fine. 100% success. Means the output, exact output we are getting as a total income. Before, even though you have a salary, the value is populating null, because the null plus any value will be null only, the result. That is the reason we did now null handling. So because of that, we are not able to see that nulls in the total income column. Okay, so these are null handling functions that we have, total 7. So is not null, is null, which will be quite versa. The output would be of these two functions. Is not null means it will return 1 and 0. 1 means which is not null, which is having a value 1. The column, input column, which you specify into the is not null, in that column it will go to each record, and for record wise it will give a output in the column that you specify as 1 and 0. Is not null means which is not having null, that will be 1, and which is having null, that will be 0. You can filter based on 1 and 0 also. And is null means it is opposite to that is not null. Whenever it found a null, it will give 1, and whenever it is not having null, it will find zeros. It will give zeros, return zeros for the null values. Null to empty, which you are specifying empty value. Null to value, which you can specify, user can specify. Null to 0, by default the transformer itself, it will be defined with 0. You cannot change the value. Set null, without any condition, it will make null of every record. So these are the null handling functions that we have in the transformer. Okay, so the next functions I want to discuss is, I'll just remove these output values, and employee number I'll put, and one more column I'll append, and I will go to the functions and we can see last row handling functions. These are the two functions which are last row handling functions which are introduced from 8.5 version. From 8.5 version. So last row, what does it do? Now a scenario we can discuss. A scenario we can discuss. What is that means? I want last record from the last record from the data set which you are handling or which you are taking. How can I get? Up to now, do you have any idea? Can we do that or not? Yes or no, we can do it or not? There is one straight way that we can do using development debug stage tail. And in the transformer, if someone asks you, yes, we can do using this last row handling function, last row in the constraint tab directly, no problem. You can get only one record to the output. That would be your last record for DS link 19. And before to going looking this output, we will see which is our last record. Select star from EMP. At 7934, the department number 10 employee and who is getting 1300 salary, that would be Miller, and job is clerk. That record should be the last record. And we'll see whether the same record we are able to find or you are finding some other records, some other record. So 7934 is my 7934 is the output. Okay, what I got? 7654. Fine. Department number 30, Martin. Okay, I'll just go through here. I'm sorry, not transformer. Oracle connector, and we'll view the data here. And if the record of the data which view in Oracle connector is showing you the last record is this record, then that would be the correct instead of going to. So here also it is showing Miller only, but 1 second. Miller, okay. So the output which I am getting is different. 1 second. The last row. I forgot the record. I will just show you why it is populating. Seven six five four. 7654. So Martin, salesman. This is the record is populating as last record. Okay, I sorted the data, right? I sorted the data. Once we sort the data here also, see 7654. This is the one, right? That is the reason. That is the correct thing. Transformer is working properly only, but I mistaked here with the flow. Okay, what I'll do, I'll just remove this partitioning. I'll just put auto, and now we'll see what output we get. We'll see. That is like when we discussed with scenario. In that case, that partitioning we did, and I forgot to remove that record. So now the value should be 7934 Miller. Seven nine three four. Yeah, Miller. Okay. So this is a last row function, and I have another function which is last row in group. I'll just show you that, and we will go. We'll stop the session here. last row handling, last row as we discussed, but still I'll just go through how it will populate the records. We'll see if I use it in as a derivation part, how we are going to, what values it is going to retrieve. We'll see. Okay, I have during derivation I have added these last two handling functions. Job got aborted. We'll see what is the reason. I just given a log of window. Okay, so I'll just try to do that, and before do that I'll just go to the run director and to view the log. We'll see what is the problem. Okay, log got open, is aborted. We'll see why. Okay, every time we're making. Oh, we are eating properly only. Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot one thing to do. Again, we need to sort the data based on department number, because last row in group will work only when you sort on the data on the department number. So we need to do that. Now it will work. We'll see this output and we'll stop the session here, and we'll continue in the next sessions with some other functions, and later on we'll go for the looping functions. Okay, looping variables. Okay, now see the last row you get only one. In the last row in group, if you sort, you will get the last row in the group, means 10th department is one group, in that the last record. 20th department is one group, in that last record. 30th department is one group, in that last record. Such a way the last row in group will work. And last row you don't need to do any sorting in anything, but you in last row in group you need to perform sorting. Okay, so these are the functions, and these functions, last row handling functions, are derived from 8.5. Means they are introduced from 8.5. Before to that we don't have the last row handling functions. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for watching this video.